my wife likes bananas every day. She likes to keep all day long. I believe it. Yeah. I don't know. I keep I know. Like there's a hole there. That's in your movies.
You missed, and if you were traveling, you missed the last 20 minutes of the last meeting too.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you, are you related to Katie?
My sister-in-law.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
My daughter went to high school there. We were the family forever. We moved from Harleysville to Sargent.
Okay.
I finally put together from looking at social media.
Ah.
Next time you see Katie, just tell her Grace's mom said hi.
Hi. Once in a while.
Is she in there? Are you crazy Disney? Or is your brother?
Not as crazy as they are.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, but not as crazy.
Nobody's as crazy.
Most of my stuff that is now Disney wasn't Disney.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, John.
Hi there.
Yeah, I think we just logged in. I don't know if it's here.
Not going to be in the frame,
You might once in a while. You're fine if you are, but well, when I shift to get them, you will be, but you're good.
as long as I'm not like the main fixture.
This is now the Scott show. You're fine, yeah. I'm moving the camera around, so it don't matter to me.
Yes, I understand you were promised bus 37.
Yes.
Did you talk to the principal?
When my wife called the school this morning, they said to call transportation, and then I got back lodged. They called transportation yet.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my plan to call tomorrow
Yeah,
morning.
that's what you should call.
Yeah.
I know you put on Facebook. But you better
Yeah,
call.
because I was looking for see if anyone else had any of the same issues we had. Yep. move it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 13th Education Personnel Committee. Tonight we're going to cover some curriculum updates for second and fourth grade, and also have some updates on some trimester project goals.
Yeah, second and fourth grade, so the updates, the standards have not changed, but we just changed a little bit of how we're delivering it. And Dr. Penny Riley, I'm going to turn that to you, and then you can follow with the project report.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm happy to be here this evening as Director of Curriculum here at Southington to present new information about our social studies curriculum in grades 2 and 4, as Dr. Gallagher has indicated, and also share an update on the ongoing progress for our elementary trimester progress report. Before we jump into the curriculum process, first I want to acknowledge that we have two of our teachers, both from Franconia, Beth Knicky and Chris Green, here representing second and fourth grade, who will join me in the presentation, as well as the support from both Mrs. Furlick and Mr. Furlick, principal at EMC, Mrs. Furlick, and principal at Oak Ridge, Mr. Furlick. So they're here as well as John Franson and also Fran Neeson-Moyer to support all the work that the curriculum team does throughout the year. So curriculum projects are an ongoing need for a district, and we do follow a curriculum cycle appropriate to meet the needs of the students and to meet the needs of any changing standards that might happen in the state. This is an example of where there have been no state standards changes at this point in social studies. However, we needed to touch the curriculum documents because it has been a number of years, and also during those years, we experienced the pandemic where we had to add some resources to meet the needs of both online and in-person learners. So it was really a good chance for the grade levels to kind of reset and just come back together and organize the information to ensure consistency across all 6 elementary buildings. At the same time, as I've been presenting over the last year, we're moving our ELA curriculum into a new direction with Putin Mifflin. So this also gives us time to align where we'll be reading certain stories to also our social studies content. Anytime that we can really optimize connections of our curriculum projects, it really helps the students learn to be able to have all those connections. So again, no standard change, but we still have some information that we can share. So I'm going to ask Rebecca if you'll come up with me. So our first change is a second grade unit about building community. So again, K through 5, any changes to social studies were done by the grade level and mapped out over a 3-year time frame. So for the last 18 months and for really the next 18 months, we'll be bringing different units through to share with the board and the community about any changes that we had. Second grade, we decided 1 unit a year would make most sense to help support their transition. So I'm going to turn it over to you to share some information about the building community.
So the first unit that will be addressed in the new format, but still teaching to the same standards that we have, is our building community unit. And as a second grade curriculum writing team, we looked at where it would best fit in the year, and it made the most sense to put that unit first in the year, because that is as we come together and we are building community as a classroom. So it made sense that we are not only talking about the community within our classroom, but then we are expanding that to also within our classroom, within our school, and within our local community. So this unit will be addressing the roles of citizens in the school, in the classroom community, in the school community, as well as in the local community, with an emphasis on fairness, cooperation, and the characteristics of a good citizen. And a community is where people live, work, play, and solve problems. Well, that is true in the classroom. We live in the classroom, and we work in the classroom, and we play in the classroom, and we solve problems in the classroom. And that extends also out to the school community and to our local community. We also incorporated some of the basic mapping skills into this unit. And as we build our units, because we will be extending the mapping skills interwoven throughout the year. So at the beginning of the year, we're introducing those beginning mapping skills as part of our social studies standards and using that to help us navigate our communities, looking at local community maps. They love looking at Sourton and Telford and Harleysville area. I can see my house. No, it's a bird. But looking at mapping our classroom, or mapping the playground, looking at the school maps, it's good. Looking at our flyer as if we're really interweaving throughout our day the concepts that we're talking about in social studies. And especially in that beginning of the school year, and we're also incorporating responsive classroom and our social emotional learning curriculum of Second Step. So that's part of our curriculum as well. This unit is the first 4 to 5 weeks, but it is interwoven, as I said, throughout the day and our other subject areas as well.
And you was mentioning with your morning meeting, right?
Yes.
As you kick off your day.
We start the day in a morning meeting where we are part of the peers entering our classroom community as part of our day. And we also, second grade is also doing some closing service as well at the end of the day. So this really interconnects.
Yes, thank you. All right, so now we'll go up a few grades. So when fourth grade was meeting together to make a plan as to how they wanted to address the next few changes that will be coming up, fourth grade decided to do it all. So Chris is going to come up, Christine's going to come up and share how fourth grade tackled all 4 units that are taught as part of social studies curriculum.
Yeah, so we would like to start the year with, I have cheerleader voice, so. Early settlers, which start with the Native Americans and go to William Penn, also the early Europeans like the Swedes and the Dutch. And they'd love to hear what they contributed to not only Pennsylvania, but to the United States as well, with log cabins and the foods and the different pottery they made. So they love to hear all of that. Our second unit is geography, where the students learn mapping skills, map key, longitude and latitude, compass rose, and then we move on to the geography, mountains, rivers that are in Pennsylvania. We also move on to the cities, where we talk about Harrisburg, which is our capital, and we do take a trip to Harrisburg for the 4th grade trip. We also talk about the 5 regions in Pennsylvania, and the students love to see pictures of PA and where they visited themselves and have those types of conversations. Our third unit is the Northeast, where the students learn the states in the Northeast and the capitals. We also talk about natural resources and what each of those states, renewable as well as non-renewable resources that those states give to us.
And we also have a request for this curriculum that the 4th grade has had a text for about 20 years. So it has come time for updating to a newer version of that text that will support the curriculum. And what the teachers did is that they went through lesson by lesson as to what pieces of the textbook would help support that and bring it to life for the students as well. And the students will attest for their future.
And it has great pictures that go along too, that they can really see it. And it's one thing for us to read it, but they can really see the pictures.
Okay, thank you. So in total, we're bringing today the 2nd grade and the 4th grade curriculum to the board, as well as the resource recommendation. And I appreciate so much that Chris and Rebecca were here this evening to share in that conversation. But Chris and Rebecca represent a quite large number of curriculum teams that work after school and in the summer to do this work and get it prepared so we can come to the board for that approval. So again, thank you so much, and we appreciate all that you did. My last topic for this evening is the elementary trimester project report update. So this has been a conversation for definitely the last 15 months as to revising the elementary progress report that is shared with parents in December. So I'm proud to say, thanks to the efforts of probably 200 people, throughout the elementary program, that we will be ready to roll this new trimester progress report out on December roughly 11th is when it's coming home. So I'm just going to briefly go over kind of where we were and where we're headed. So it started back about 15 months ago. We had a committee that worked through the process, having conversations about the intention of the progress report, what we hope it communicates, and then also looking at the current progress report and where we can improve that. Last December, we asked for parent feedback through a survey that was home to parents and teachers as well to get the best information as to how we prioritize the revisions that we wanted to make. And those revisions are noted right there in the red, that the format is something that parents felt could be improved upon. It is an online system, and when you print it out, it was a little wonky. It was a little hard to read that way. And then the language of the progress report historically has been written in standards language, but using more friendly language to all who might not be in education was also a recommendation, so that was an area of focus for us. And then previously we had a scale that used letters for strongly in place, progressing, and moving that to a scale that was a little bit more understandable for all, which we moved it to a scale of 4 to 1. So I'll jump into that in a second. Things that came back through the work that we did with the team was to ensure that there still remained a place for comments for teachers, because our parents definitely appreciate and value the comments that come back from teachers, and it's an important piece for the teachers to be able to have that way of communication. To make sure that an online version still exists so that parents can access it easily. The qualities of the learner, that's the beginning section of the progress report, talking about how students, behave, respect each other, and participate and learn. And then also that the progress report came out in a relative time close to the conferences. So we were able to maintain all of those green areas, which were also priorities that we received. So John, if you can head to the preview. So out on the website, on each elementary school, you will find under the assessment tab an introduction of the new elementary trimester progress report. The buildings right now are doing a lot of work to also get that message out as conferences are coming up, and we're getting closer to December when we will be disseminating this to all of our students. For the first trimester, we are going to issue it as a paper copy as well as it being available online. We definitely want to make sure that everybody is aware that we did make a change and there were revisions. So we felt printing out for everybody would be a really good way to send that message home. And also when the teachers can have the time to support the students, we're going to take that home in an envelope and then provide that to their families. So if you scroll down just a little bit there for me. So the scale for all indicators in the progress report will now be a 4 to a 1. Previously, we had 2 scales on the same progress report. We had like checks and pluses and minuses and plus P's and everything. So now we're just a 4, 3, 2, 1. So qualities of the learner plus academic subject areas all are rated on the 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to begin with the 3. 3 is meeting grade level expectations. So a student who is coming to school, doing their best, demonstrating that they're able to do that on assessments and also through observation. A 3 is meeting the grade level expectation. That's phenomenal. It means your skills are strongly in place. A 4 is going beyond the grade level expectations and demonstrating that they're tapping into standards that are above their grade level. A 2 is approaching that grade level standard, so they still have a little bit more work to do to demonstrate that that skill is secure for them. And then a 1 indicates that they're below the grade level standard. They need some more time and they're getting additional supports. So that new scale will be communicated in continued communication so that all families can understand that. Teachers are preparing for conferences, so confident that's part of the conversation to help the parents when they receive the progress report that that's a new scale for everybody. But overall, the purpose of the progress report is to emphasize students' growth over time. John, could you actually link to the one that is, there's a sample out there. Scroll down, you can look up the sample. So on the sample one, you'll see that as it begins, the information we're going to talk about the school district, the student's name, grade, their teacher, information about their attendance, and then we go into the performance indicator, that 4, 3, 2, 1 is explained right here for the families, and then we jump right into the qualities of the learner. Right now you'll see it says T1, so you only see one report. As the year goes on, T1, trimester 1, trimester 2, trimester 3 will all be populated. So until we hit them, it'll just be the 1 column. But then you'll be able to see your child's growth over time. So that's what we definitely want all the families to be able to see that change over the course of the year. But it starts at the qualities of the learner, continues on, we move into our subject areas, English language arts, down to math. I don't know, there we go, math, and then science, social studies, and then all our related arts. And then teachers will have an opportunity to provide comments. So when it comes home, it'll be one single sheet, double-sided, an 8.5 by 11. But it's very easily viewable. Everybody was quite happy, I think, with the results of that. That was a big expectation to make sure that it was something that people could really look at and see. And then the second page will be comments, that any teacher that has your child will be able to provide a comment as needed. So we're very excited. It's a big project. It's 6 different grade levels. The amount of team support from each grade level to accomplish this was overwhelming. The teams worked through all of last year, through the summer, and then also into the fall. We just had our last professional development day last Tuesday, and we were putting final touches on the progress report. But with any big project that you do, you might not get it all exactly as you want it the first time, and we need additional feedback. So we will be doing that through the course of this year. In a survey coming up in December, we will once again ask parents for feedback. They will have already had the progress report, and then we can respond to that information. And by June, any significant revisions that need to be made will be made, and then the progress report will be set. And for 25-26, we'll be ready to go. So still a dynamic document because more eyes on it will give us more feedback. But we're very proud and excited to get that out to everybody. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy Riley. Thank you for our teachers to come out tonight and present. A lot of information there. You just presented in 15 minutes. You did a great job summarizing it all. Some exciting changes for 2nd and 4th grade. I did like the book. It's got a lot of information in there. It covers history, geography, and the history of our great state. A lot of information in there and how it relates to the northeast part of the country. There's some ability to drill down in there. You're not covering every topic in the book, but it is a good resource. And with the trimester reports, I know a lot of work is going into that. The amount of detail you can drill down in there, the individual child level, and then take that into account with our maps and everything else to look at the classroom, the grade, the school, and track performance. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions.
All right, thank you.
I love the curriculum thing. I love the textbook, and it's local, printed in Amber, so I like how you kind of use that. And it really goes hand in hand with the trip to Harrisburg, which I think is phenomenal. As with the progress reports, you said they're going home to kids now?
Yes,
Okay.
so in December. Yeah, so for the first,
I think that's amazing. I know when I had a kindergartner, you get bombarded with so many emails and things, and I remember it was January, and I was like, oh, I don't think we ever got homework, and didn't know that they went online, and felt like it's number one of it. I didn't know my kids didn't have homework. But I think, especially with the communication barrier with some of our ESL families, seeing that printed, would it be translated?
so we're working on that. So as we're getting into the final stages, so they definitely will be translated. So we're hoping that we'll get that first iteration translated, but we're currently working with that almost building a whole second batch of progress reports. So if not, we'll make sure that we provide support to the families until it's perfectly translated.
Well, no, I appreciate that. I think going home is phenomenal, and it's really going to help with, the communication between the parents. So thank you for doing that. I think that's great.
And just to let you know that we did get lots of mixed feedback on how to present the progress report. So it will always be online because that is their house, so parents will always have access that way. And in the December survey that we send out, we will once again ask parents, do you access it online? And how important is it for it to come home as a print copy? So I think we continue to need that feedback, but I also think, to your point, the families need to experience that print copy to see, how it will be helpful. So we'll continue to get feedback and then make a decision for moving forward.
All right. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Number of questions. I just want to acknowledge the fact that being through this so many times, it's the great work that our teachers do in developing our curriculum. And I know that there's a lot of time and effort that goes into each and every course that's done. The research for materials, it's just astounding, and thank you for that. progress report, great job. I'd like to see the ever-changing dynamics that goes on. You said 200 people contributing to it to really make this a very interactive and useful source for parents to look at. So it's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great job as usual, Katie. I like how the progress report will show each trimester so that you can see in one shot how your child's progressing. I know a lot of work went into this. It looks like a very good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, same Katie, progress report, parent session data, great. You mentioned earlier on the presentation, a focus on the transition for our younger learners, how to make this more effective and make sure it was bite-sized, if you will. So that was the part that really stood out to me. So thank you for making sure that was done, so that once received in the classroom, it's as effective as possible.
Yeah, I agree with what I was saying. Just see what you guys did and how you were really working to really bring everything together with the kids, which is so important at that age. I just think, again, it just shows the amount of detail that the teachers do something like this, that you don't just get from out of the box. And I'm really, really happy to see that from, incorporating the first section with building the community and really understand that, and that socialization is part of the class too. Even, like you said, with maps, like with school maps, and understand, where they would never make a fire map. They would never understand, but when you did the same thing really remember, which I think it's just the next level. It's great. Now, the book, I know the book's great. Oh, the state hasn't made any changes. If the state does make changes, which we never know what to do, well, we're possibly going to have to go back to a different book and get rid of this one, or like, how does that work? Or can we just kind of tailor it and pull what they want out of this book?
I mean, the book is about Pennsylvania, so, I believe that we'll always be studying Pennsylvania for probably my whole career in fourth grade. So I'm confident that I'll meet that need. I do know from the state right now, it's not one on the docket to make revisions to at this point, but they would also give us a heads up and lead time in order to make any changes, and then there's time for that implementation. So I think we'll be good for a bit of time.
Yeah, and the other is, like you said, like, just making sure that for the parents and caregivers that we're feeling comfortable reading these evaluations in their own language, just to really make sure that they have the opportunity that whether it's a printed version or they'll know where to access it online, if that makes it easier for you.
Yeah.
Good, excellent, good job.
Thank you.
First of all, with the, I go back to the reporting. I usually get our report card signed and have to come back. So that was a little scary, especially for me. I didn't learn how to write junior year in high school, so I was scared with those reports. But that is great. I love the touch. And is there a way that you can tell whether the parent went in to look at that report?
We do look at those metrics and everything through, yes, the back end and everything to see. So that is one of the pieces of feedback to ensure that we're getting it to every parent's hand. And that's why we'll follow up with the survey to ask the questions.
And on the curriculum, you said there are a number of people that do this. It looks really good on this nice 8.5 by 11, but the amount of work, I'm impressed. I used to write curriculum myself, and just to see the level that this is done, I appreciate it. The teachers need to be commended.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for presenting it. It looks great. I love the curriculum. It's good for the students to hear about Pennsylvania, their own community, and they're within the district. So it's very nice. And thank you for the presentation.
I'm good. They're all ready to talk everything. I'm going to use my 10 minutes for ops.
Yeah, first, Rebecca and Chrissy, you picked two of my favorite units, social studies and curriculum. I love the community focus. If I could offer anything, I'm past president of the Chamber of Commerce and a libertarian, so I'd love to come in and speak about the community. And Chrissy, I love Pennsylvania. You know that. I think we've had this conversation. And I'm just glad to see the book choice. I know the publisher of that book, personal friend, so That's not why they did that. I just happened to know them, and good job. And as far as progress report, hallelujah. I mean, I was on what would be the original progress report back in 2002 as principal Lower Southford when we created something very similar as far as it looks, and a digital mode and a book mode. And I'm glad to see that we're going back to one that's going home. That's really good news. So good job.
And I also want to say, I think, I know, and thank you again for both Chris and Rebecca being here, but also the support of all the building principals. They were very involved in the curriculum and also the progress report and getting that message out. So for all the support that all the principals did, thank you very much.
Any questions from the public?
Nice job on the curriculum. I'm really excited about the change there. In regards to the progress reports, how does it align with our kids that have IEPs and special needs? Because sometimes you get these reports and it can be a little disheartening to parents to see, not making progress, low progress and all that. So how are we educating parents before they get this to understand how to use or don't take this too seriously? This is on there because maybe the IEP update reports gives a more detailed progress. So how are you working that through?
Well, first to begin, that we have our conferences at elementary before the progress report goes home, I think is critically important. So the week of Thanksgiving, the elementary families will be coming into those conferences. So not only the ongoing communication that teachers have been doing with the families, but that dedicated time to ensure that that one-on-one conversation is had before the progress report goes home is, I think, extremely beneficial and helpful for that. John, could you open up the progress report one more time? One other thing on the progress report that will be, you can scroll up. Right here, it says, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't want to touch it, I don't want to mess it up there. Okay, so academic interventions or identifications in one or more of the following for any of the subject areas. This is where a teacher will be able to drop down, and if a child does have an IEP or a GIEP or a 504 plan for support or receiving tier 3 intervention for support to be successful, or ESL, that will also be designated here. And then for some of those programs, additional progress reports go home. So from special education, there's different information that comes home. ESL teachers send home different information for the families to also show other indicators of progress. So having a different thing other than no in this category typically will mean that there's additional communication to help explain the progress of that child. So that's one of our indicators. Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Kennedy Riley, for the presentation. Thank you to our teachers for the presentation. The curriculum and the book has been on. We're good.
All right. Thank you very much.
That's the end of the PPP.
All right, see you tomorrow.
welcome to operations. There are a couple items on for tonight. As you know, from the last meeting, we were reviewing the renovation work that was going to be done at Indian Crest. We threw it back and asked for additional information. They broke it all out a lot further, so we will understand what the numbers. We're also going to go over tonight is the renovation to Southwood Hill Elementary. So we're going to do two tonight. And we actually have the architects here. We have the site logical, who's our construction managers. So we have lots of people here so we can ask questions if you have any from the presentation tonight. So I'll put it over to Mr. Joe.
All right, yes, like Mr. Pearl said, we have David Spark here from the Concept Logic to go through the presentation. So maybe I'll turn it over to you. Good evening, I'm David Spark with Site Logic. I'm the project executive for the projects that we're going to review tonight. We're going to review Indian Crest Middle School, and we're going to review Southford Hills Elementary School. Our agenda is by building, first Indian Crest and Southford Hills, to review the scope of work. We're going to look at diagrams. We're going to have the information repeated that was provided by the architect. Joe Mesmer from Gaucho Kane O'Rourke is with us right in front row, and we'll be able to answer any questions that come out of scope. We're going to provide narratives for each large piece of the scope that match our breakout of costs. We'll talk about phasing plans and schedule and the award schedule. Starting with the Crest. Summary of scope of work on the site is replacement of stairs and reconstruction of the site for water runoff. We have some work around the flagpole that does some relocation. We have some minor sidewalk replacements of parking lot lights and poles. Importantly, we have a new Pico gas service. That new gas service is going to allow us to operate the building much more efficiently. We're maintaining the current site circulation for buses, cars, and walkers. Further, we are doing full renovations of the entire building, but we are renovating pieces of the building that are not going to be able to stand the test of time for 20 or plus more years. So, for example, we're replacing the new HVAC system. With the HVAC system, there are hot water and chilled water pipes that provide heating and cooling. We tested those pipes, we took them apart in both buildings, we figured out which pipes are able to stay for 20 years or more, and which were deteriorated, and we're only replacing those that are deteriorated. For the electrical systems, and I'll get into more detail during our narratives. Electrical system overview, switchgear, LED lighting throughout, sound systems in spaces like the auditorium and gym, new devices, receptacles, new panels and wiring. For plumbing, replacing some of the underground sanitary. We put scopes down the sanitary lines in both buildings. Where we had sanitary sewer that was not going to be able to stand the test of time for 20 or more years, we are replacing it. Where we had good sanitary sewer lines, we are keeping it. So again, the theme is, if it's not broken, we're not fixing it. In the case of plumbing systems, we're also doing new fixtures and creating accessibility where there is not accessibility now. Auditorium gets renovated, including seats, lights, sound, and curtains. Gym gets new bleachers, athletic equipment, and refinish the floor. And we're building a new fitness center. That's a big programmatic improvement. New finishes include ceilings, flooring, and wall surfaces in most locations. We're gutting and renovating locker rooms and toilet rooms, providing the casework and display boards. Here we're retaining the existing roof. About 2 to 3 years ago, that whole roof was redone. There's no roof work here except for our penetrations. And we're replacing the existing windows and doors. This floor plan shows the detail of where the most major renovations are. And this comes from the architect. So in red, where we have major renovations, and I also call those alterations, we're changing the function of the space, or we're putting up walls or changing walls.
In red, renovations to the locker rooms, the family consumer science rooms, and the art room get relocated. Renovations for life skills classrooms, renovate the music suite for band and orchestra, and renovate toilet rooms on this first floor. In the green area, those are minor upgrades compared to ripping walls down and putting them back, but still to the level of replacing casework, flooring, ceilings, kitchen equipment, and sinks, work in the auditorium for seating finishes and lighting, and replacement of the elevator pad. Represented in the white areas are where the minimal work is, but that also includes all mechanical, electrical, and plumbing renovations and replacement of those systems with the exceptions of the piping that I was telling you about throughout the building, plus new windows and finishes. This shows the second floor. I'm going to focus just on the major renovations. Renovations to the library and IT support, added classrooms, splitting the classroom into MTSS spaces, and renovating toilet rooms. The narratives are provided so that you can understand when we break out the costs. You see the cost for each one of these major categories of work. So there are 3 pages of these, and I'm going to let you read it while I summarize. Auditorium, new seating, new walls and floor finishes, new lighting, new sound systems, new curtains and rigging, refinishing the stage floor. Athletic spaces, locker rooms, toilet renovations, the new athletic equipment, bleachers, padding, acoustic panels, and refinished floors for the gym. As we said, got the locker rooms, the perimeter walls, with new layouts and finishes. Relocate and build a new fitness center. Got most of the toilet rooms except for in the science wing. Those toilet rooms only get new finishes. And when we got a toilet room, we're going to put new fixture carriers in and create more accessibility. In classrooms, in science and general classroom areas of music, new casework, new flooring, new ceilings, marker boards, display boards, wall finishes. Programmatic changes that go along with noting the fitness center change is relocation of the art room to the former science room area, expansion of the special education suite at the former art room, converting staff lounges to guided suite, reconfiguring spaces in the current library for various programs. Quarters get new ceiling, replacement of wall coverings and new flooring. Other general construction, all the exterior windows and doors that we talked about before. Addition of some select windows where none exist in classrooms where we're not getting natural light. Minor kitchen finishes upgrades, addition of hand sinks and select equipment additions and replacements in the kitchen. All new finishes and acoustic panels in the cafeteria. Again, site work with select sidewalk stair replacement, decommissioning of the fuel oil tank because we're getting gas, and replacement of the area over the tank with bituminous. Mechanical. The system gets upgraded to a system that works very well for education, provides an excellent educational environment for children to learn. We are replacing the existing system with a 4-pipe fan coil system. The roof-mounted equipment that goes with it provides dedicated outside air systems. We call that DOAS. That includes replacement of ductwork, new condensing boilers, new chiller pumps, replacement of the automatic temperature control system, and select reuse of mechanical piping, which we mentioned. For plumbing, one more time, we've talked about replacing fixtures, accessibility upgrades. We also have select replacement of domestic hot and cold water lines, replacement of the domestic hot water heater, and select replacement of those sewers, as we talked about, as well as the gas line. And a little bit of sprinkler work where we are reorienting spaces and creating new spaces with moving walls. Electrically, replacement of the switch gear and select panels, new feeders to existing panels in select locations where we examine those and we realize the feeders needed to be upgraded, new power connections to new and replaced equipment, LED lighting, new interior and exterior, new public address fire alarm systems, new AV systems in select locations like the gym and the auditorium, new data systems including new mid and intermediate distribution frames. We all know those kind of as server rooms, so those all get upgraded and replaced along with wireless access points and added receptacles in much of the building.
All of that was broken out the way that it was to show you the cost breakout. So if you look to the right first, you will notice there is a visa scope cost. Those are things within the cost of the Guaranteed Energy Savings Act scope of work, and that is what will be considered by the board, should it be recommended this evening on the 21st. That amount is $29,536,938 for this building. Outside of that scope of work, through cooperative purchase, and we're going to show you the list of all those cooperative purchase agreements. So we're creating a hybrid project delivery method. There's $3,644,712 of scope that will be considered by the board in early 2025. Those two numbers total up to $33,181,650, which is broken out as follows. Auditorium, $800,000. I've been around for each. You can read this. Athletic areas, locker rooms, toilet rooms, $1.3 million. Classroom renovations, including science labs and music areas, $4.3. Programmatic changes, $1.1 million. Corridor areas, $1.8 million. Other site, including kitchen, cafeteria, storage, $2.8 million. The HVAC throughout the whole building is $9 million, just about 9.1. Plumbing and fire protection, $1.8 million, and electrical, almost 7.5. Below that, we're pre-construction and development services cost at $346,000. The construction management effort for the 2 years of work is $1.2 million. General conditions and warranty costs are just about $250,000. Bond insurance and taxes, $700,000. And there's some commissioning and performance assurance to make sure the building is working to specification, and that is about $125,000. These scopes of work will be purchased by the district through cooperative purchasing. You'll see that they're broken out. I'm not going to read all these numbers to you because you can see them clearly on the screen. The scopes of work include all the flooring, that's soft flooring, epoxy flooring, wood flooring, and ceramic tile both on floors and walls. Toilet partitions and accessories are included as a package. Display boards, signage, lockers, flagpole work, athletic equipment, casework, auditorium seating, stage curtains, gym bleachers, window treatments, library furniture, and appliances, which also are needed for some of our work here. All of those numbers together are the construction portion of the work. There are other costs that will be considered by the district in the future. The district's environmental consultant has provided an estimate of cost for the abatement that needs to occur here. It's transect panels, it's caulk around windows, it's a few other things, but that estimate of cost is $435,000. The district has elected to have a line item of contingency that they may or may not elect to use if they need to buy any additional furniture, fixtures, or equipment as they finish up with the project. That is typical and very responsible to do. And of course, the district, as it has provided for all of its projects, and it is as good practice, will provide builder's risk, and that is estimated at $83,000. And the contingency for furniture, fixtures, and equipment is set at $100,000. This project is a 2-year project, start to finish. There is not a lot of swing space in this building, but working very diligently with the administration at the building and with the administration in the district office. We were able to create 8 separate phases, and those phases are pretty neatly and tightly separated. So those 8 phases will run from March 2025 through February 2027. The remaining schedule for the award is the review at the committee meeting that we have tonight, approval of contract consideration, if passed on for the 21st, will be in 8 days. Start construction March 1st, 2025. Completing construction February 28th, 2027. That is the update for Indian Crest. We'd like to take a break and have questions about this particular.
Thank you for the breakdown. It shows us where all the numbers are going. We've had this for a couple weeks to review and understand. Thank you for the scope update. I'll take my questions for the end. I'll just run through the questions from the board or anybody else first. Bill, you have a question?
No, actually, all my questions have been answered over the last several weeks to a month. We're very lucky because we have three construction guys on board. Nicole Ron, Nick Baccio, and Steve Nelson. So they kind of explain things and dumb it down for us in any construction. I also want to commend Mike Taylor. Thank you, and Set Logic for the additional information. This is a huge project, and I want to say Mike mentions numbers. We really just have to move around and bring it all together for the project, so thank you, Mike, appreciate that. But that's it, thank you.
No real questions, thank you very much for the deeper explanation. Taking that extra time and putting this together for us really helped. After, we've been talking about this for several years, and now being able to really see how things are broken down and brings together a better understanding. So thank you very much for the presentation.
I appreciate the breakdown. I know we've had some time to look at it, and I do appreciate that. I'm glad to see that there's that contingency of money, because I remember when Valley was done, that beautiful library had completely old furniture. So sometimes you don't think about things like that. And thank you, Mike, for helping get Ms. Han some new stuff in there. It looks great in there. So thank you, everyone, for working on this. I do appreciate it, and I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Done really great job on the numbers, but more importantly, not just for about 2 years now, I think it's been in front of us, so I think we've come a long way. Appreciate the details. Cool. Thank you. Mike?
Again, no questions. I just want to thank you guys for making yourself so open over the last couple of weeks to be available to answer our questions in great detail. And I also appreciate the fact that you're taking the lessons learned, and when we get to the new request, and we're extending this maybe a little longer, but we're doing it in a way so that everyone can be comfortable going. It just really shows that you guys are looking out for the rest of the community, which makes us very confident. But I gotta tell you, the confidence of giving the exact completion date, I'm very impressed that you're going to do this. Good luck with that.
I'm good, thank you. Great presentation. Appreciate the level of detail. Very helpful.
Yeah, thanks, like everyone else said. We have been working on it for quite a few years. I'm so glad to see it actually happening now. And we've also talked about the financing, and we have that the borrowing financing already discussed numerous times, but it's all covered with impact to the taxpayer. So thank you.
Mr. Nelson?
Just one comment. When we go over the numbers, you look at HVAC and electric, two things that you really don't see. And when you look at the numbers, you're between 25% to a third of the project of things that you don't see. So it's amazing how expensive that is, but how important it is. So I appreciate the breakdown. Look forward to finishing the project on.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now I get to take my 10 minutes. Sorry, just kidding. Couple questions. Flooring, I think we discussed this, is that we're going to a no export like we did at Valley to an LVT, which will actually save the district. Yes, it's an additional cost to put this product in, but the savings of not have to be waxing our floors every summer saves us a huge amount of money. So taking our staff that should go waxing floors to be doing other things. So yes, we spend a little extra money putting the better floor down, but we save in the long run by not having to wax and distribute all those floors every year. So, thank you. Clarify moving the flagpole, of course, one more time.
I would like to invite my good friend, that's my architect here, so he can do that in better detail than I can.
So right now, there are two existing flagpoles. One is right outside of the gymnasium entrance. The other one existing right now is on the corner as you enter and you kind of turn down the road. It's sort of right outside of the knock, actually, right inside there. So we're gonna remove the ones on the corner and put the new one at the front. So you're gonna have one at the front entrance of the building, and the existing one at the gym is going to remain as is.
Good, thank you. I think there was some questions. And then the DOAS system, which is just a ventilation system, when this, as we all know, the bad word of COVID happened, this will make sure this school also meets the ventilation standard, bringing fresh air and moving air out with the new DOAS system. So this will update, bring this school up to the most current system that we need, the best system out there to do that. So thank you very much for breaking it all out so we can understand, and then how you took each scope so we could read, but auditorium, I get $800,000. What am I getting for $800,000? Thank you very much for breaking this out so we could all understand this. So at this point, I'm going to ask the public if you have any questions. So.
Thanks for the presentation. Two questions and observations. On the first one, where we're adding pansates to the kitchen and going from the learning to what happened at Valley, does the cafeteria at Crest already have hand washing sinks outside for the students to use? One thing we learned we're learning at Valley is a lot of the kids are having to go to the bathrooms to wash their hands because there's no sink in the cafeteria for them to wash their hands. It becomes a behavior control issue as well. So as a learning, I don't know if that's been discussed, but that is something we may want to be looking at because it makes it behavior and control of behaviors easier than having people going in the bathroom and control that. So that you may want to be thinking about that as an investment that would be worth it.
I can answer your question for you.
Okay.
Thank you for the comment. Typically, inside the cafeteria itself, there's not a sink for other reasons, but actually at Crest, the bathrooms are right there where the cafeteria is. It's not removed a little bit like the Valley one is. So it's much easier to access the sinks at Crest. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, that's just my observations. Yes, it's a problem for the staff having to monitor it. And then the second, in the discussions that were happening for the Valley construction, I recall there was discussion about the track at Valley getting resurfaced at the same time that Crest, and there's nothing in this proposal about the Crest track being dealt with.
Yes, you're 100% right. That's going to come at a later date. The track is not part of this number. We're looking at resurfacing. We're still waiting on some additional information, some bids coming in on that. So that will come at a later date. Okay.
Okay. So any estimation of how long that's going to be? Because Valley.
We should have probably by hopefully by December's meeting when we roll out. There's numbers coming in. We just didn't have it all put together for this meeting.
Okay. December.
Yeah. So we are worried about the building first. So we want to get this through, and then we'll detract. We understand the track. There's some information we have to get. Can we resurface, remove the existing surface and put a new surface down? Or do we have to, when we remove that, is also going to have to mill and re-blacktop? So there's some more information that they need to gather so we get the correct price. So we actually have to break it down. If we just have to resurface, it's X. If we have to do blacktop of that building, the two together. So we wanted to make sure when they brought it to us, we have the full number.
So I can look forward to that. We'll be doing it, cooperative purchasing with $3.9 million. If we had to take the visa contract, there's additional costs that psychologically occur. So we would procure that ourselves because there was an agreement for the turf field. So that is something that we're coming up in the next few months. We do through cooperative purchasing to the same people that are doing the field. So we've got some numbers, but we got to get more information, like Mr. Braun said, as far as, it's just a resurface or got something
address the category needs. So, yeah, that'll be going for the next few months as part of the purchasing agreement. Thank you. Yes.
So I have two, and his question about, because his question about the bathroom kind of triggered another question I had. So you mentioned Crest, and it's been a while since I've been in there, has bathrooms in the cafeteria. Am I correct in remembering that there's two of each on each side of the cafeteria, or is it one of each?
They're not literally in the cafeteria, there's a.
Well, I know it's, yeah, they're like, they were like at the very end of the hallway, if I remember that.
No, they're in the center of the hallway, right next, between the hallway, between the office, there's a hallway, then there's the bathroom.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So in the scope of bathrooms, will there be changes to include, say, like a single-use or gender-neutral bathroom for students that may not feel comfortable using either the male or female restroom?
We address that individually with each student and family.
Perfect. All right. And then my second question was regarding the music hallway. I guess, typically the band is in the literal wall to ceiling room, and then the orchestra was usually in the kind of like other closet-ish room. Will that be a separate room for orchestra, choir, and band, or like how will that be reconfigured? No, the actual classroom itself. Like, how will that be reconfigured?
Perfect. So right now, you enter at the main entrance, you make a right, and that's your band and orchestra room.
Correct.
So the band room itself is the first room,
Mhm.
and we are going to kind of keep it configured the way it is, but we are going to eliminate an office or two that's just not used right now, just for storage. And that allows us to open up a little bit more to the orchestra room. And then the orchestra room, just like at Valley, we're going to remove the raised risers, just to help with, accessibility and just open up that space a little bit more. So there are going to be the two band and orchestra, and then right down the hallway, where we renovated in the mid-2000s, is going to be the chorus room.
Okay.
So it's going to be a nice core, just like it is at any Valley.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is it the same construction crew that's working on Valley right now?
Same crew in terms of subs.
Who's doing the actual work?
So right now at Valley, we're about finished up. I believe that most of the subs are slightly different. So there may have been the mechanical contractor, might be the plumbing contractor on Crest, if they're not mechanical, there's a different mechanical contractor, as well as the electrical is different. At Crest, we don't have a lot of roofing, so the folks working on the roof and finishing that up and getting that all straightened out, that's not necessarily the same group that's going to work with the same product, but not the same group. There are a few here and there, but on the whole, there were a lot of bidders for these projects, and we've changed over a lot of contractors.
So is Site Logic responsible for choosing the contractors?
We do that with the district. So, and I can tell you on this particular project, while the district could take the best value, the district has in every case taken the contractor that's had the lowest bid that was qualified in these codes.
So I'm just curious, I heard that it was brought up that there's 3 people on board who have construction experience or are currently in it.
Right.
Does anyone on board stand to gain any financial value from this project?
No. We would have to abstain. So like, I'm in the business, I actually do schoolwork and I would not, it would not look good for me to bid work if we get it from somebody. So, no, we'll abstain. But also when, like Damien says, when it goes out to bid, just like a really public bid, he may have 6, 7 HVAC contractors that bid for that one item. And then he reviews it and gets the lowest qualified bidder, and looks at that. So just because they did Valley doesn't mean they're necessarily going to get Crest. He gives us the best number, the best quality, and you also learn from the mistakes that maybe that guy wasn't the best guy. We saw what he did at Valley, we want to use him. They take all that information, and that's when they're sorting out the bids, that's what they do. So it works out well, yes. Okay. Good, any other questions? Okay, so, good, thank you. We're okay to move this one forward, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Southford Hills, thank you.
So if everyone will indulge me, I'll do the best I can to do the same thing for Southford Hills. But now that you know the structure of the presentation, I'll make sure that I'm pumping through, so please read along, and we'll keep this a little bit more brisk. At Southford Hills, the site, additional parking spaces, accessible entry ramp to the main office, a 5,400 square foot addition in this diagram. You can see that in the dark gray, painted lines for parent pickup, maintaining that current site circulation for bus, cars, and walkers. Within the building, most importantly, that 5,400 square foot addition, here you're seeing that in light blue right in the center of the diagram. With respect to renovations throughout the building, this is going to sound a lot like Indian Crest because we were designing things in the schools that could be repetitive, they keep costs down, they keep Mr. Ball's maintenance down. And so for the HVAC systems, same type of system, 4-pipe systems, plus the DOAS units, reusing wherever we could, and we could vary in many places the heating, piping, supply and return, as well as the chilled water supply and return. Electrically, a little bit different, relocating the existing electrical service, LED lighting throughout, sound systems in the large spaces, as is usual, additional receptacles, panels and wiring for panels, backup plumbing systems, same thing as Indian Crest. Replacing some of the sanitary lines that are underground, we scope them, we're replacing the ones that need it, the ones that are in great shape, we leave it. Replacing the fixtures, creating accessibility for fixtures. Finishes, ceiling, flooring, wall, gutting and renovating toilet rooms, new casework display boards here. We're replacing about half of the existing roof, and we're replacing a lot of the existing exterior doors and windows. Where we have exterior windows in the latest edition, those don't need to be replaced. They have lots of life and they're being serviced well. Looking at the scopes of work that's put up by GKO, you can see the same diagram here with the addition and some of the work related to the new loop in the back where that hatched area is in the center of that loop and the spaces at the top of the diagram. Once again, GKO's diagram shows in red where we have major renovations. So renovate the kindergarten classroom, that's at the top, where the classroom is at the top center at 12 o'clock. Relocate the music classroom, renovate and move the administration to the front of the building. And you can see it's in the middle of the diagram where there's red on either side of the hallway. That also creates a new secure vestibule and accessible entry. That's exactly what we want for safety and security in these buildings for our children. Renovate the kitchen is a heavier renovation. That entire circle portion of the building gets renovated for new classrooms. You can see the addition in the middle as we discussed before. We are re-roofing at the 60s, 70s, and 2000s additions to the building. The other roofs didn't necessarily need that level of work. Renovated toilet rooms, green areas, much more simple replacement of casework in classrooms and finishes. Of course, everything gets the HVAC. We talk about windows as well as electrical. Now, once again, narrative scopes work. It's going to sound a good bit like Crest, but there'll be some differences. So first of all, we have the new library addition. That addition houses the library and other spaces for facade, modified addition and roof, all the related mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work. And that's going to be designed and built to look a lot like and blend in very nicely with the architecture of the existing building. The circle renovations, really that whole part of the building gets gutted all the way back to steel, which means we're putting new walls in everywhere to create 2 classrooms with the library spaces and all the classrooms around. We are adding a fire exit, and we have all new finishes and everything that you would expect to see in a classroom when that gets finished. 4 spaces, gutting toilet rooms with improvements there, like the Crest, accessibility ramp at the cafeteria is new, replacement of select wall padding in the gym, and there's a ramp in the corridor that gets replaced. We talked a little bit about the administrative offices, that front entry, it gets altered for secure vestibule in the front office, with the building administrative offices being right there adjacent to the front entry where they belong, and all those new finishes and security that goes along with that. Classroom renovations, same as Crest. Casework, flooring, ceilings, marker boards, new wall finishes. Quarter upgrades, very similar to Crest. The wall finishes are different. Instead of getting a vandal-resistant type wall finish, we have concrete block in there that we're simply repainting. There are other general construction pieces. We talked about a lot of the exterior windows and doors being replaced. A little bit more kitchen equipment here and finishes, replacing roofs over the circle building, kindergarten, and gym. We're recoating the center section of the roof because recoating the roof can allow us to extend an already good roof that exists, warranty like 10 more years. And we have site work to accommodate the addition and parking, plus an upgraded kindergarten play area. Mechanical system, almost the same as Crest. 4-pipe system, DOAS system. Here, high efficiency boilers, neutral over the pump, automatic temperature control, and again with the reuse of select mechanical pipe. Plumbing, very much the same, fixtures, accessibility upgrades, with replacement of select hot and cold water lines for domestic water. New hot water plant, so it's not just the heater, but it's the pumps in the entire hot water heating plant, and select replacement of those sanitary underground lines, which we talked about over and over. Electrical system upgrades here, new electrical service, relocate the transformer and substation, replacing the emergency generator, that's different than Crest, and transfer switches that go with that. Replacing the select panels with some new feeders again, where those needed to be upgraded. New LED lighting both interior and exterior, public address fire alarm, new AV systems in those large areas where you typically need AV. Data systems, again, much like Crest, with those computer rooms for distribution, added receptacles, and wireless access points. All of those things, once again, translate into what you're seeing here in the cost breakout. For this building, the Giza scopes are $24,074,855. That, if the board's pleasure, will be considered on November 21st as a part of that, the Guaranteed Energy Savings Act amendment. Cooperative purchasing scopes are less here because we have a smaller building. So we have $1,575,019 in identified cooperative purchase scopes, which I'll show you on the next page. They down those two numbers down to $25,649,874. Broken out this way. New addition costs $2,100,000. Again, I'm rounding for simplicity. Renovations in the circle area of the building, almost $2.7 million. Floor spaces and toilet rooms, 1.4. About $250,000 for the administration secure vestibule. Classroom renovations, $3,100,000. Corridor, about $1 million. The miscellaneous scopes of work, including work at the site, the administration, some of the administration, the gym and kitchen, and storage, 1.5, 1.6 million. HVAC here, just over 5.9 million. Plumbing here, just over 1 million. And electrical, almost 4.5. Here, pre-construction development costs were $292,000. Construction management, $927,000. This is a slightly shorter duration, you'll see in a moment. General conditions of warranty, $275,000. Bonds, insurance, and taxes, $585,000. And finally, the commissioning and performance assurance were about $93,000. The cooperative purchase scopes of work are shown here, just like we showed them at Crest. And that's done on purpose because I want to show you what's not here compared to Crest. So we have soft flooring and epoxy flooring, but we do not have wood flooring at Southwood Hills. We have ceramic tile on walls and floors. We have toilet partitions and accessories, display boards, signage. There are no scopes of work related to lockers or the flagpole. Athletic equipment, that bit that we were doing in the gym, about $46,000 there. Casework is of course there, and you can see that's a lesser number than the much larger building at Crest. No scope for auditorium seating, stage curtains, and gym bleachers. They're not part of Safford Hills. Window treatments, library furniture included here. No separate appliances needed for this project. Thanks. You're seeing kind of the comparison. Other costs. Again, from the district's environmental consultant, an estimate of just under $170,000 for asbestos abatement in this building, which will happen through each phase. The furnishing, fixtures, and equipment, district contingency that the district elected to set aside to use potentially all of or potentially none of the $75,000. And the builder's risk insurance is budgeted at $67,387. For Salford Hills, we have less phases. We have 6. Smaller building, less phases. You can start to see how it breaks out. That starts in March of 2025 and runs through December of 2026. In order to get all this underway, we have an award schedule that looks like this. The review by the committee tonight, potential consideration for approval on the 21st, start work concurrently with starting at Indian Crest on March 1st of this coming year, but complete our work at the end of the year, December 31st, 2026. We'd be happy to take questions about South Hills.
I don't think we need to run. I'm just going to ask if anybody had any questions on this, because I think it's basically laid out the same. Down the other, any questions? Okay. A couple of quick questions. Just for your public to understand, we said 4-pipe system a couple of times. What that means right now, if you have a 2-pipe system, it means you either heat or you cool. So you see with our crazy weather, like last week, 80 degrees and then 20 degrees at night. So you get up in the morning, we have a classroom on one side of the building that wants heat, while the other side wants chilling. With the 2-pipe system, we have to shut the boiler down and then start the chiller. So it's a whole system. So this type of crazy weather, you either heating or you're cooling. With the 4-pipe, it allows to do both. You can chill, cool one room and heat another. So that's why we've gone from a 2-pipe to a 4-pipe. It works better for the gentlemen. So I just wanted to understand, like, well, what is a 4-pipe system mean? So you're allowed, you can do both at one time. Like the high school, you notice that one side, you get one side of school, this side of the classrooms is hot, in the morning because it's 17 on, the other side is cold. This way they can do both at one time. So that there's a lot of money doing that. The DOAS system, does that too. Site lighting, township required us to put all new site lighting around the parking lot to meet the dark night standard, correct? So which means that we can't, when the lights go on, they can't go out there and read past certain areas. So there's all brand new site lighting going in there. I know you're going to get to us, we asked for a roofing diagram just to show there's a lot going on. And you're going to give us a roofing diagram, which is color coded, so what gets replaced by saving, that would be fantastic. Get that to us. Roofing. And those boilers there will be oil, not natural gas, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And we have a well there, which gets tested. Thank you again very much. Thank you for breaking it out. Any questions from the public? Yes, ma'am.
I just have one question about the first diagram, the black and white diagram. Is there, like where the addition comes out, yeah, where it's dark gray, is that some kind of gate to off the one corner?
Off the bottom corner at 7 o'clock or 7:30 down there.
Yeah.
There is fencing and gate. The reason there's fencing and gate there is that there's equipment inside of that area. So that's not a place where we want kids to go.
Is that, okay, because I'm trying to picture, my daughter went to Salford Hill, so I'm just trying to picture exactly where that addition is going in, because it looks like it's taking up like most of what the playground used to be. And I know there was a fenced area there.
Currently, if you go into the school where the office currently is,
Yes.
it's going to be expanded out.
Okay.
So you're going to have the library can be the center entrance area, and the office is moving.
Okay, so where will the kids go out for recess and where do they come in then?
The same door is still gonna be available to go out,
Okay,
and then there's other doors, obviously.
okay,
And then the kids in the circle, they do recess before lunch now.
yes.
I think when your daughter was there, they didn't do it better.
No, we did, well, all the grades were kind of split up, so.
The doors that have, the rooms that have doors out to the playground go out
Yes.
that way, so
Yes.
that flow is not as strong.
Okay, so I guess, so is that addition then splitting the play area?
Now, it really doesn't invade too much into the play area.
Okay.
It's playground,
Yes.
thankfully.
Well, I was just kind of thinking logistics wise, if there's kids running around on both sides of the building, like how does that work for the playground aids that are out there?
Yeah, they're running farther out.
Yeah, and I see, is there going to be a gate at the top around the driveway? Where the new parking spaces look like they're going to be?
Yes, there is.
That's great. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Sir?
So with the replacement of the equipment on the roof, do we have guarantee about the roof being able to handle the movement and if something happens?
Yes. That's the work diagram I asked for. Where the equipment's going, they're gonna be able to show you, if you read through it, there's multiple areas that are going to be replaced and everything else. And that's gonna help me to understand, okay, here's rooftop, that roof gets all redone, yes.
Okay, so the contractor will have
Yes.
a guarantee?
Yes, correct. Yes, we will. Yes?
So I just want to make sure I understand correctly. You mentioned abatement with asbestos. I assume that asbestos is in closer towards the circle section that really wasn't touched so much, or, because I thought they removed all the asbestos when they did those renovations in 2000.
This one, where that comes from is windows that are being replaced.
Okay.
The caulking and glazing the windows, it's not a harm to you now, when you remove the windows, we're gonna remove that, just make sure there's nothing in there, right? And some of the mastic on the chalkboards and stuff like that. So that's all stuff that, right now, is not a harm, as we're renovating, we're removing.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And then just to make sure I clearly heard, the classrooms that had the doors on the circle, they'll still have doors.
Are those doors going away or do we keep them?
They're safe.
Yeah, that's true.
Fifth grade, fourth grade, third grade, the circle rooms?
The circle.
Circle, okay. Cool, thank you.
Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. With this amount of money that's being spent, what is a contingency amount? What is the overall amount, what they're putting in?
I answer them. Okay. So the guaranteed energy savings, it's about these projects that we refer to as the guaranteed energy savings agreement. Okay. When we agree to that contract, that price is locked in. So regardless of what costs go up, that's outside logic. Because that's why we like this guaranteed energy savings agreement. Those contingencies are if we decided we needed some furniture or something that we didn't plan to do, we're putting some money aside saying, hey, we may do this just so we know the overall budget. But as far as everything that's planned to be done in that work, that agreement, when we agree with next week, if the board moves it forward and votes on it, those prices are locked in. So I know there's some concerns what's going to happen to the economy, costs are going to go up and go down. We're locking in the prices right now before anything happens. And then on the other side, financially, we've talked about our borrowings before. We're going to borrow money as we need. So we're not borrowing all the money now at a high rate. We're only borrowing money for the next upcoming year. We'll borrow again the following year for the next year that we need money. Fortunately, when we talked about borrowing before, it takes a couple months. We prepare for months ahead of our borrowings. Our first borrowing is not going to be at least till January. Okay? So as the Fed has reduced the borrowing rate in a 0.75% already, we aren't locked into any financing yet until January to do our bonds. So we're going to hopefully see some lower rates. Obviously, rates have come down some at this point, but also we're going to lock in our contract prices now. And that's why it's important to get this done now and start this construction.
And with your typical bid, they can go, as they go in, he's cambered to the sewer lines, they call, they check everything. So when he gives us a number, it's not like, oh, like you're doing our house renovation, well, we opened the wall, we didn't see that. He owns it. So he doesn't, okay, so that's the benefit.
So, okay, out of scope though. Like, these are the scope that he's giving us, right? So if he buys something extra, how do we handle it?
So that's why we talked about the last couple of months. So when we did Franconia and Union Valley, from the time we hired the architect to being in the ground was just under a year. The process of hiring the architect to being in the ground is going to be just under 2 years. So we took extra time. We looked at what we discovered in our prior processes and improved it. Not that we did it wrong before, but we found there's always ways to enhance and improve. And that's why I mentioned scoping the sanitary lines, checking out pipe, taking out sections of pipe to check that. We really had them, do some structural testing, really try to identify anything that would be unforeseen. So we didn't just rely on just walking through a building and saying, okay, this looks okay. We really spent a lot of time with our consultants, both the architect, the engineers, and with the construction team to really make sure that we identify those issues. Can I promise you that there wouldn't be something that we didn't know about? No, I can't promise you that. I mean, we've done our due diligence, and enhanced what we've done in the past to really identify all those issues. Really, that contingency is really for more if we decided we wanted to do something extra. But these buildings have really been gone through very thoroughly as far as the scope of residence.
Okay, good. Okay, well, on that, we're good moving this one forward. So we're going to move both forward to the meeting for approval. Okay, and then I think when we did finance a couple 2 months ago, whatever, Mr. Taylor went over all that, those numbers was including this work. So if you go back to your notes, look at that. All of these 3 projects, West Broad, South of the Hills, and Indian Crest, were all part of his presentation over the next, shows the borrowing and everything over. We can easily afford this without affecting the district.
Yes, just to clarify that, but the plan borrowings for these 3 projects, also for the multi-purpose field, the debt service fund rate, the amount that we pay annually in our operating budget is projected to be less than what we've had each of the last 3 years. So these projects will not increase your taxes. I can't say your taxes won't increase, but the projects themselves will not be the factor behind increased taxes. So, so debt service will be lower, so that's a good thing. The other thing to note next week, as they're moving forward with consideration, it will be one vote on a visa amendment. How the visa contract works is you set up an amendment to visa, and then you can do amendments. So when we did the roof replacement in the valley over the summer, we formed a new visa contract with SiteLogic. This process will be an amendment. We worked with our solicitor on handling that. There'll be one amendment to include both projects. That's why if you saw the notes on the board docs, it's at 53 million for the, not to exceed 53 million. That's because the 2 scopes will be included together. If for some reason the board decided not to move forward, we split that out. That's what they'll be considering next week.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for everybody for coming.
Yeah.